Alright, what's up? So guys, welcome back to another video. So I want to talk about just a general update on this animal-based diet with fruit and honey. Let me just adjust this mic. Alright, I think that's a little better. So, trying to keep my posture nice and good because I recently injured my lower back and I want to get that back to 100%. So I'm really trying to make sure I don't slouch, stay nice and extended but not hyperextended, because that's a tendency to try to overcompensate something and try to fix something by forcing healing, where you can't force healing, you got to promote healing, as my physiotherapist would say. Very smart guy. So basically guys, I'm still going strong on this diet. It's been 2 weeks and for the most part I've been pretty strict on it. So just to kind of recap what I'm eating, I'm having mostly red meat, but it's just animal meats, but mostly from the cow, because you just kind of, first of all, I like the taste and you just get most of the nutrients in that compared to like chicken and fish. And there's a lot of question as to whether like a chicken meat source is actually that good for you, because of how the chickens are raised and what they're eating, and then that affects the quality of the meat. Just like how they say red meat that's grass-fed is a little bit more nutritious than grain-fed red meat. With that said though, I don't want you guys to get a little crazy with this and think that if you can't eat grass-fed then you can't eat it at all, because eating processed meats versus unprocessed meats should be your biggest focus. So even if you just switch to regular ground beef, that is much better than eating processed meats and just processed foods in general. So keep that in mind. So guys, red meat for the most part, ground beef, steaks, fatty cuts, lean cuts, and then any fruit of choice, because fruit is pretty much delicious, but for the most part I love mangoes, bananas, pineapple, watermelon, and then every once in a while I'll mix it up and have different things that I don't typically have. And also things that I eat with my ground beef would be like bell peppers, butternut squash, and spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash with ground beef is almost like you're eating pasta. And yes, those are fruits. Those are things that you would not consider fruits, but yes, they are fruits, my friends. So guys, that's most of the diet. And then I also have a little bit of honey and raw dairy. And there is a difference. You want to get raw dairy versus like pasteurized dairy, because they heat the milk with pasteurization, and apparently that takes away some of the nutrients, and then it can lead you to becoming lactose intolerant and lead to inflammatory conditions as well. Because if you're lactose intolerant and then you start to get gassy, getting gassy is a sign that things aren't working. And this is just a side note. This is probably a little bit too much information, guys, but I used to be, and I don't know about you guys, used to be quite what I would call regular, like going to the bathroom for a solid number 2, like 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. And I know that sounds gross, but that was one of the biggest things that I noticed as a change on this diet, is that I'm only going to the bathroom like once a day to do that, number 2. And before I was thinking like I'm healthy because I'm going so much, like irregular or whatever. But I was kind of thinking like, if I'm producing so much waste, because that's technically waste, right, then it probably means that I'm not absorbing a lot of the foods that I'm eating. So if I'm not absorbing a lot of the foods that I'm eating, then I'm not really getting as much nutrition that I actually think I'm getting. So I think I'm actually doing a lot better, doing a lot healthier. And really guys, this is just an update to kind of, and just a time for me to kind of just talk about my experience so far on the animal-based diet with fruit and honey. And keep in mind that I've only been doing this diet for 2 weeks. So it's not like I'm going to see like a plethora of benefits right away. It does take time. With that said, guys, I have noticed quite a few benefits, and I'm just going to talk about basically the 2 main ones. And sorry, did I mention that I have honey? So I also have honey, raw organic honey, and honey is absolutely delicious. I use it a lot of the times to sweeten up some of the smoothies that I make with different blends of fruits. So I've been lately adding dates, because dates are pretty sweet, but I bought a different type of date that's not super sweet. So I mix in a bunch of fruits, throw in some dates, throw in some honey to sweeten it up, and it produces like a nice tasting shake. And no, like I've kind of learned, no, eating fruits is not the same as eating processed sugar. All sugar is not created equal. There's so many different compounds that are in fruits and honey that when you consume it, it doesn't respond in your body the same way. Yes, you're going to have an insulin spike, but it is normal to have an insulin spike. You wouldn't produce insulin and have insulin spikes if it wasn't something that was normal and possible. But it is different when you're responding to a processed sugar versus a fruit sugar, because there's things in the fruit that are going to make it digest way better and be way better for you and actually healthy for you, because that is what nature intended. That's the way that God created things, and they're going to be better for you. They're going to respond in your body much different than the way that man has altered things to make it more, one, delicious, and two, addicting. But it makes you feel horrible. So why even eat it? Because you're addicted, that's why. So guys, what was I even saying? So basically, those are the main foods that I'm eating. You guys have seen hopefully plenty of my full days of eating if you're watching along on my Eating for Fat Loss series. If you're not, check out my Eating for Fat Loss series. It's my short series where I pretty much just go over everything that I eat for the day. I show you guys like a screen share of my FitnessPal of what I've tracked for the day. And then I show you a couple of pictures, sometimes just one, of just whatever I've eaten throughout the day, just to give you guys a visual as well, and just to keep it interesting, so you can actually see what I'm eating. And then I kind of just talk about just whatever's kind of on my mind for that day, whatever's on my mind that I feel relevant. So check that series out if you haven't yet, guys. And so with those food selections, guys, eating it for the most part for 2 weeks, I've kind of instilled the mentality where I'm doing like a 90-10 kind of idea with this diet. So 90% following the diet, 90% clean, just like you would on a typical like healthy diet. And then I'm having about 10% room for cheat meals. And that would be more so to facilitate things like birthdays, going out for dinner. If I want to relax a little bit, like I may still have a burger, but I may want to have the burger with a burger bun with some cheese that's not raw cheese, and with some sauces that would have like seed oils and things like that. But it's okay, because I was eating all that stuff for all my life. And yes, it'd be probably better to not eat it, because I have responded pretty positively to this diet. But keep in mind that I do still want to eat some of that stuff as a cheat meal. So that was my approach to start out. However, with that said, if you guys are also watching me along on this channel and following another video that I made, it's going to be my birthday in about 2 weeks. And I really wanted to push myself for the 3 weeks before my birthday. It just happened to be that it was an idea that I came up with, and I was 3 weeks out of my birthday, so it was a push for 3 weeks. So it wasn't necessarily planned to start at that date. It's just I decided, you know what, I want to push really hard. And diet was just a part of this push. It's more of a dopamine detox. So check out that video, guys. It's my dopamine detox, my 3-week journey, basically. And I'm not necessarily ending it there. I'm going to continue a lot of the habits after, but maybe not every single day. But for this challenge, I'm eating this diet without any cheat meals for the 3 weeks. But other than that, I would allow myself a cheat meal on the weekend. And I think moving forward, and the irony of it is that it's going to end on my birthday, the day before my birthday. And so on my birthday, I'm going to want to have some red velvet cake with cream cheese icing, because that's my absolute favorite. And I will have it because, you know, like I don't eat that stuff often. So it's going to be more like that for like celebrations, if I want to go out with friends for dinner, more something like that. Not really if I'm like alone by myself in the house and I just want to eat some ice cream. Like that's not really something that I'm going to do. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's a 90-10 approach, still being flexible, allowing myself to have some cheat meals. With that said, guys, being on this diet, I have noticed that I have very limited cravings for junk food. Like I just literally do not crave having the foods. Even foods that I know that I like the taste of, like I'm not even tempted to eat them because I'm just so satisfied on this diet. And keep in mind, guys, I'm not married to this diet. I'm giving it a try. If it does not work for me, I will not continue to do it. If it does work for me, then I'm probably going to bite the bullet and just start eating like this for the majority of the time, like I was saying before, the 90-10 rule. But I have noticed benefits, which leads me to think that, you know, I'm going to eat somewhat like this, like moving forward. With that said, I'm going to start to add things back in and see how my body responds and see what I can tolerate and what I can't. But I think the overarching scheme of this diet is something that I kind of like. But I'm not married to this diet. I'm not a part of a cult with it. It's just giving it a try. So just keep that in mind. I have an open mind to it being something that's going to work and something that's maybe just not going to work. But I have noticed really reduced cravings for junk food. Next off, I've had so much better energy, guys. I have noticed that I don't need to drink coffee anymore. So I do not drink coffee because coffee is from a bean is from a plant, so I can't eat the plant-based food. So I can't have coffee. And at first that kind of scared me, and because I was drinking 2 Yeti mugs, which is basically two, I don't know how many cups it would be, probably like a cup and a half, approaching 2 cups of coffee. So I would have 2 of those and sometimes a third one to get myself through the day, because I just felt like I needed that boost in order to get through the day. I was just always tired, and I'm eating the same, because I'm tracking my calories, guys. I'm eating the same amount of calories on this diet right now as the previous diet. It's just the food choices that change. So it's not like I'm eating way more calories and therefore having way more energy. It is a pretty apples to apples comparison in the sense of caloric intake. With that said, I'm having a little bit less daily expenditure because of my back injury, but I am still moving around quite a bit. I'm still working full time. So it's very comparable. And I've noticed that going from coffee to zero coffee, the first 2 to 3 days, I kind of had withdrawals. It was actually the worst probably on the second day, and then a little bit less worse on the third day, and probably the least worse of the 3 days on the first day, ironically. But after that, guys, I've been fine. So I don't drink coffee. Like, I wake up very, very like refreshed. I wake up really early in the morning. I get a good night's sleep. In the night, I'm actually able to fall asleep like pretty quickly. And it's just like an overall very like improved energy and just improved sleep, I think, which also contributes to having better energy throughout the day. So that's another thing I've noticed. And with that said, just a small little throw in here. I do plan to have a quote unquote off plan treat by having a cup of coffee a week, because I want to make a nice tasting latte. Guys, I love sweet tasting lattes. So I'm going to make one with whatever milk is available. So probably almond milk or even just regular 2% skim milk. Throw in a scoop of protein powder and throw in some sweeteners. Keep in mind, I literally went from eating this stuff every day, and protein powder has artificial sweeteners in it, and having artificial sweeteners in my coffee, and then not to mention like a bunch of stuff that was probably causing me to have a leaky gut, triggering my psoriasis and blah, 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 to now not eating the stuff basically 6 days a week and then just having one meal with it. So I'm pretty sure this is not going to derail me. It's not going to be something that makes me not continue to have my results. So I do plan to have that cup of coffee, a nice sweet latte, as a little treat. So just so you guys know. But even last week, I planned to have one, and I had about half of it, and then I threw away the rest of it because I didn't feel like I needed it. I also kind of learned that I don't like honey in my coffee as a sweetener. I kind of find that it ruins the taste of the coffee, and that's probably why I didn't want to finish it. But I will be having that. But other than that, the rest of the 3 weeks is just strict on this diet. And then I'm going to do an update at the end as to what I'm going to continue to do for this dopamine detox. And also just keep in mind that this diet moving forward will pretty much just be a 90-10 diet. Right now it's just 100% pretty much, or like a 99% strictness in terms of like following the diet food choices, because I just want to push myself a little bit harder before my birthday and just be a little proud of something that I really had to like work hard for and really push myself for. So it's just a nice little challenge for me. So I've won over, guys, basically just to recap really quickly, just having way less cravings for food, better energy, better sleep. And the other one is, and also just improved like bowel movements, I think I guess I should say. And I find that, so two more things. I said I'd covered like 3 main things, but I ended up just talking about like a few more things. But that's okay. I'm just kind of ad-libbing here. I didn't produce a script. I just wanted to sit down and just kind of update you guys and just talk and just, let you guys know how the diet's been going, basically. So I've noticed that I feel like a lot more full on this diet, guys, even with the same calories than I was eating before. And because of that, I'm not also tempted to have the coffee, which it makes it a lot easier because, one, I can't have coffee, but the coffee before used to keep me more full because it was more fluids, and then also the caffeine intake would kind of blunt your appetite a little bit. So that was definitely helping me to keep full and stay on the reduced calories that I wanted to stay on in order to stay lean. But now with this diet, guys, I'm actually like quite satisfied, and like at the end of the day, yes, I have some days like today where I felt pretty hungry, but after eating that steak, because I just had like 800 calories almost to eat for that steak, and I ended up eating part of it, and I thought I was going to go to the gym, but I decided to take a rest day because I'm going to work out the other 2 days of the week because it's Friday today, and then I just decided to take my rest day today instead of the Sunday. but I would have eaten a little bit of that steak, went to the gym, so I wouldn't feel as hungry. But I think that I'm just going to redistribute my calories in a bit of a better format so I don't feel that hunger. But just overall, at the end of the day, I'm not super, super hungry like before. Like, I actually feel satiated, which is just another fancy word for feeling full and feeling satisfied. And I'm really, really happy with that, because when you want to get lean, it's one thing to get lean, but you also want to enjoy getting lean, and you want to be able to stay lean. And the only way to be able to stay lean is that you need to be able to have a sustainable plan. And to have a sustainable plan, guys, one part of that plan is to be enjoying what you're doing and to actually feel like satisfied. Because if I don't feel full and satisfied and like energetic on this diet, then it's going to be hard to feel like low energy for a long period of time. You're not going to want to maintain this, and eventually you're going to gain the weight back and bounce back to a weight, like a body fat range that is more sustainable, that you feel more energetic with, depending on what kind of foods you're eating. So I'm able to eat a little bit less calories, feel full, feel energetic, and therefore look the way that I want to look, which is a little bit on the leaner side. And I'm still dieting a little bit, I'm still losing weight, so just keep that in mind. And then the other thing, guys, is it was a bit of a random one. But so far, like, this diet has been a lot of positives. There hasn't really been a lot of negatives to talk about. But the last thing that I want to talk about, so the main reason, guys, I probably should have started off the video with this, but the main reason that I even decided to do this diet was because I have something called psoriasis. It's an autoimmune condition where basically your skin is super, super flaky. It's a condition where the cells of your skin are reproducing and degrading too quickly, so it undergoes the life cycle of a cell for your skin cycle, for your skin cell cycle too frequently. So the process of building new cells and breaking down the old cells, because a lot of the dust in your house is actually you kind of shedding off some of your dead skin cells. So shedding off those dead skin cells and reproducing the new ones, that process happens too quickly for people with psoriasis, and I think similarly eczema. So you end up just having very like scaly skin, and if you itch it or if you rub up against like this table by accident wherever you have the psoriasis, then all of a sudden you got like a white line, like an ashy line of your scales, basically like your scaly skin, flaky skin, because of anything that touches it. And it's really annoying because it's always, I find, in the scalp for people, and then another area, and then usually depending on what you're eating or what you're doing that's triggering it, it just starts to spread. And for me, it's really bad on my shins, but it got to the point where it started to spread to like my arms, my shoulders, like on my sides of my torso here, and even a little bit on my forehead. So guys, I was kind of like, you know what, like I want to get rid of this thing, and I want to not do it with medication, because I used to use medication, but I kind of fell off that stuff pretty quickly because I didn't like the idea of using like steroid creams and steroid ointments and also like immune suppressant stuff to get rid of this, because it is an autoimmune condition. And so I wanted to figure out how to get rid of this thing naturally, before it got to the point where it was like really uncontrollable. And guys, basically, long story short, through a lot of digging and through a lot of like researching, I found out that a lot of people were eating carnivore and even this animal-based diet with fruit and honey to get rid of a lot of autoimmune conditions, whether it be eczema, asthma, psoriasis, lupus, neurological conditions, which I also have a neurological condition that was recently diagnosed. So I think this diet will also improve that. It's nothing crazy, but it's just something that's lingering in the background. So that's basically why I started this diet. It's really just to improve my actual physical health, and I guess technically my mental health because of the neurological issues that I have, and to cure my autoimmune conditions, guys. And as far as like any noticeable improvements in the skin, I haven't noticed anything really improving in the skin because it's only been 2 weeks, and I've heard from people that it takes anywhere from like a month to 6 months to see like real improvement in the skin, and upwards to, like I said, like 6 months to actually see it go away completely. So I'm still excited for seeing that change. But the last change that I actually want to talk about really quickly is that I also had really sweaty palms, and I mentioned this in 2 other shorts videos recently that I posted. My hands would be sweaty just at rest, just for no reason, even if I wasn't nervous, even if it wasn't like clammy out or humid out. It wouldn't matter what temperature or what humidity level it was outside, or how nervous I felt. However I felt mentally, if I was at a heavier weight a lower body fat, it wouldn't matter, guys. I would always feel, I would always have sweaty palms. And you can imagine how uncomfortable that is. And one thing that I've noticed that I didn't even think would happen is that my palms are way less sweaty nowadays. Now, with that said, they're still a little bit more sweaty than the average person that has dry hands, but it has improved quite drastically to the point where it's like I noticed it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I wasn't even expecting this benefit. But clearly something that I was eating before was causing an issue within my gut and then affecting the cells of my skin cells and my sweat glands, causing me to excessively sweat in my palms. So some sort of inflammatory reaction or some sort of food that I was eating was activating some sort of pathway, causing me to have overactive sweat glands. And now with this new diet, it's reduced. So something tells me that if I continue to do this diet, it's probably going to go away completely, because it takes a little bit of time to clear things out of your body, to clear things out of your blood, to clear things out of your fat cells, your skin cells, your muscle cells. All your cells in your body store information. They store different proteins, receptors, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They store information. So it takes a little bit of time to flush all that stuff out. But I think a lot of it has flushed out, and that therefore I have seen that improvement. So that's just something to keep a lookout for, guys, for any updates on, as far as, it fully clearing away and for me to have fully normal dry palms. But that's my anticipation, that it will get to 100% normal, because it takes a bit of time for that stuff to clear out, like I mentioned before. So that's basically the last thing that I want to talk about, guys. I'm pretty excited about this diet. It's a natural way of eating. It's like an evolutionary, ancestral way of eating, and it's pretty exciting because I've already noticed benefits from it, and I'm not making them up. Like I said, I'm not married to this diet. I'm trying it, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, then I'm gonna go and try something else, or just go back to the way that I was eating before. But so far, I have noticed quite a few benefits that were not there before, that are quite significant in my opinion. So I'm going to keep going with this diet, guys. I'm going to keep going strong, and just keep updating you guys throughout the journey as I see any improvements, and as I see if the main issue gets resolved that I even started this diet for. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and even let me know, guys, what kind of videos you want to see in the future. And yeah, let's enjoy this journey together. All right. Peace.